Your Giants game day coverage begins now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
diving, he makes the catch,
and bats start cracking,
it is gone.
We bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Loring.
That's what we do. We talk ball.
On KNBR, the sports leader.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball on this Memorial Day weekend. Very important weekend, of course, in our country and in our history, and Memorial Day goes back to the Civil War, when they were memorializing and decorating the graves of those who gave their lives in the Civil War. And we celebrate Memorial Day in a way and remember those who have perished to give us the country we have. But it also is a marker in a baseball season. It's Memorial Day. The first 2 months of the season are down, and you're getting to know who your ball club is, and the baseball season is starting to take shape at this point. And as I say on the air, and I say it to Raf, and we talk about it, it's like the alarm clock has gone off. We have a baseball season, and this week we really did understand how that works at the end of May. Things happened this week that have never happened to the Giants franchise in their history before, never happened in baseball before. And all sorts of things are popping this week. The Giants last night come back. They're down 4 runs or more again for the third straight time on the road again. And they come back and win the game 8-7 over the New York Mets. And a dicey ninth inning that had heroes, had drama. But that's what baseball is all about. And I say the alarm clock has gone off. Folks, we have a baseball season. And we've got 4 more months of this, so get ready. The Giants have come to play. This is a hungry team. They hustle. They don't give up. They've got a great bullpen. It brings them back in every game because it shuts the other team down and allows the hitters to do what they're going to do. Starting pitching is going to be a little bit dicey as we go through this baseball season. They've got some injuries. They've got some young players. They don't want to push them. So starting pitching has got to tighten up a little bit. But there are players on this team that are getting very exciting right now, and it really showed this week with the comeback wins in Pittsburgh, losing the game in Pittsburgh to start the road trip with giving up 4 runs in the ninth inning, then to come back with these early grand slams. My goodness, Brian Reynolds hits one, Joey Bart hits one, and then last night Patrick Bailey hit one to put the Giants ahead. They were down at that point 6-3, and then they went up with the grand slam. They went up 7-6 in the 8th inning. And then the 9th inning got even dicier for this ball club. So let's talk about last night a little bit. One, of course, the Giants do win the game 8-7, and that gets them back to 500, which is a big deal. And you look at the standings now, and the Dodgers got beat last night. Dodgers have lost 3 in a row. Paxton got knocked around. Just keep your eye on the Dodger pitching staff and see where they're going. But the Giants now, they win last night, and the Padres end up just getting blasted by the Yankees. And the Yankees come in. Wait till next weekend. Wait till this week. Wait till today. This is what this baseball season has turned into. That alarm clock is ringing. It is going, and this is what this is going to be like for the next 4 months. We've got Mets today. We've got Jordan Hicks on the hill in Severino. We've got a game tomorrow. Coming up, Logan Webb goes, who pitched great against the Mets in San Francisco, and he goes against Sean Manaea, who pitched well against the Giants. Then the Phillies come in on Monday, on Memorial Day. The Phillies come into San Francisco for 3, a day off Thursday, and then the Yankees come in, and the Yankees are playing great ball, and they just blasted Yu Darvish last night. Home runs, of course. Soto, Stanton, and Judge hit home runs, and they're doing it all the time now. And they're going to be in next weekend. How about that? And then the Giants go on the road again. So this is a very exciting time. All right, the Giants have won 7 of 8, 9 of 12, 11 of 16. They've won 3 straight. This is a Mets team They've lost 4 straight now. They've hit home runs, 3 homers in a game, 3 straight games. They did in Cleveland in the last 2 games of their road trip and lost those games. And they hit 3 home runs last night, and they lost, of course, to the Giants 8-7. They have lost 4 straight. They've lost 11 of 14 now, and they are 9-21 in their last 30 games. And Diaz, their closer, they took him out of the closing role because he had blown a couple of saves, and now he's pitching in the 7th inning. They used him there last night. They brought Garrett in after that, and they never got to Ottavino to shut it down. The Met bullpen, like the Pirate bullpen, is somewhat depleted right now, and the Giants are beating up on those bullpens, and that is the story of these 3 comebacks, these 3 late-inning comebacks, down 4 runs or more. They are beating up on bullpens that are just not available to these other teams right now, and the Giants are getting it done. The game last night, what can you say? Let's go to the end of the game first. The Giants get the lead going into the 9th inning, and Duvall is now on there to try to hold it, and he ends up being the victim of another error by Luciano in that 9th inning. And he gives up a double. He gives up another hit to Lindor. And all of a sudden, it's this 8-7 game, and the bases are now loaded. And Duvall is on the mound. And J.D. Martinez comes up, and he just throws 102 and just puts him away off the plate and strikes him out for the 2nd out. And now you can breathe a little bit. Estrada goes in and says something to Duvall, and Tranquilo, the calm Camilo Duvall, just takes it easy, and he goes 3-0 on the next guy, Vientos, who's already hit a home run. The bases are loaded. It's 8-7. Come on, this is New York. This is New York baseball. Teams grow up in New York, and I'm telling you, the Giant team is growing up every day now. So Duvall goes 3-0 on Vientos. If he walks him, it's 8-8. And now he comes back with a strike, another strike, and now it's 3-2. The place is just exciting. You can hardly breathe watching the game. And Vientos hits a little tapper down to the third base line. And here comes Matt Chapman, who's had a great week. A great week. He'll probably be player of the week in the National League. Matos was player of the week last week. And he comes in and barehands the ball. He plays so deep. Come on, there's no way. He can never throw this guy out. Well, Vientos is one of the slowest runners on the Mets. He's 4.7 to first base. That's a very large number. Trust me. I thought they moved the bag back. I couldn't believe that he didn't beat this ball out. But Chapman comes in. And Matt Chapman, I will tell you, is having a great week of baseball. But defensively, he's probably the best third baseman the Giants have ever had. There's no question in my mind. Comes in, barehands it. Sidearm, running, throws a perfect strike on a hop to Lamont Wade, who makes the play. Lamont Wade made a couple of great plays last night at first base. One thing about Chapman, and I've said this before on the show, when he throws to first, he hits you in the chest. Well, he made this throw to first. It was almost like blind. And he throws it right to Lamont Wade, who picks it. Vientos is out, and the Giants win the game 8-7. How about that? And that's the way it ended. And they looked at the replay, and Vientos was out. Duvall got it done and walked off like no problem. Chapman ran into the dugout, and the team celebrated at that point. But there's more to this ball club than what's going on in that 9th inning. One, Lamont Wade is having a great season. And Bruce Jenkins and I will talk about it. Is there room for him on an all-star team? With all the first basemen in the National League, and you got Bryce Harper, of course, to deal with as well, and Freddie Freeman. Where's Lamont going to fit in? But he leads the league in on-base percentage, leads the major leagues in on-base percentage, and he's hitting, over 330, and he's playing great baseball. Estrada makes 2 great plays in the infield, going to his left, and gets the Giants out of trouble. At shortstop, Luciano, and I've said this before, the bat will play for me. Now, he doesn't pull a ball. Everything he hits is to right field because he's a young player. He's got to learn how to pull the ball, which will come in time. The bat will play. But the glove is really raw. It's really raw at short. But my feeling is you got to play him. You've got to play him. Look, when the Giants win, they've had great shortstop play. And if you have to play Luciano part of the game and take him out late in the game, no problem. That's what Nick Ahmed is for. You can do that. But Luciano's got to play. You've got to let him develop because the bat will play. You go back to 1962 and Jose Pagan. You go to 71, it was Hal Lanier. You go to the early 80s, it was Johnny LeMaster. You go to Uribe, who Pitt played short in the 80s. You go further to Craw and Renteria. They've always had a great shortstop. Luciano is not that now, but you've got to let him develop. My opinion is he's got to play. He's got to play. Ahmed can come back, let him back him up, and take Luciano out late in the game because he's raw. And he turns the glove in a funny way, and he can't make a play. And he ends up putting Duvall in very difficult situations in the ninth inning. But he's got to play. Chapman's been absolutely terrific. Ramos does his job. Gets a hit here and there. He can steal a base. He's playing terrific baseball. Conforto's going to come back, and maybe you want to sit Ramos occasionally against a right-handed pitcher, and you put Conforto in. But use Conforto a little bit like Flores, and that's what I say there. Matos is starting to play center field. You know, a week ago, we didn't want to see him at center field at all. Now the guy's starting to play center field, and he comes very close to grabbing these balls over the wall and bringing them back, these home runs. And he's playing well. And, of course, look, the guy's got, 19 RBIs in 7 or 8 games. And he's done things as a 22-year-old that no player in Major League history has ever done. And you're talking about Mel Ott and Joe DiMaggio and players like that. So leave Matos in center field. Don't bother him. Let him play there. If he needs a rest, you can deal with it. Yastrzemski is in right. Look, he pops the ball up 2-3 times a game, but he does have power, and he's a decent right fielder, and you just have to let him play out there. I think that's just what's got to happen. When Slater comes back, we'll see. We'll see where this team is at, but I wouldn't break up these young guys. They are hungry players. I like hungry players. They give you a spark. And we're coming into the summer, June, July, and August. Young legs. Ken Maka told me this years ago. You want young legs when we get into the summer months, and the Giants have the young legs playing right now. Don't mess around with them. Let them play. They've been a great spark for this team, and I think they sparked the other guys too. Then we come to Patrick Bailey, and it's a perfect match with Bailey and Casale, but they need Bailey to catch. They really do, and he had the concussion, but the guy can swing the bat. He really can. They don't throw him breaking balls. He got ahead in the count 2-0, and he got a fastball and didn't miss it, and that was his grand slam that really won the game for the Giants last night. He's a very good hitter, and as Susan Slusser will tell us, she talked with him last night, she's got an opinion as how tranquil he is, along with Duvall. So that's the team that's out there right now, and the hitting is is starting to do their thing, but you got to pitch. And you got to play defense. And the bullpen, the bullpen has been terrific. Duvall gets it done. Ryan Walker gets it done. Luke Jackson, I like him. He's going to be fine. Let him do his thing. The two Rogers brothers, Eric Miller. And then they brought in Drew Pomerantz last night. We'll see if he's got anything left, but it gives him another lefty in the pen. Jelly is there. Rodriguez I like a lot. All of a sudden, the difference is, and I know I'm going on a little bit on this thing, they now have depth in the bullpen. If they need to go to this bullpen, look, these starting pitchers are not going 7 or 8 innings. They're not. And they're not going to do it over the summer. You're going to need a lot of this bullpen. But Bob Melvin now has depth in the bullpen. He's got Jelly. He's got Rodriguez. He's got Jackson. He's got Walker that he can go to. And these guys are going to be necessary. And look, Avila, the vulture, and they call him that because he comes into the game and somehow if it's a save situation, he ends up with the win. He pitched 2 big innings last night, and he really blew the ball past the Mets. He had a number of strikeouts, and his 2 innings were important. Look, that 6th inning, 7th inning could have turned 6-2 into 10-2 if he got whacked around. He didn't. he kept it right there. He gave up the 1 home run. It was okay. And then he turned it over to the 8th inning. And then the Giants to Walker and then eventually Duvall. So my point is they have depth now in the bullpen. And it's good. And they need a pitcher. They need a starting pitcher. That's my opinion right now. They need a starting pitcher. I don't know when Keaton Wynn is coming back. Black is in the minor leagues now. And that spot is going to come up. Snell's not going to give you 7 or 8 innings. It's not happening. So they're going to need a starting pitcher. I don't know when Cobb will be available. Robbie Ray's starting to throw bullpens now, so we'll see when that's going to happen. But they need a starting pitcher, and I don't mean another project. They need a major league starting pitcher, and if he's got to make a trade, do it now. Do it now. You've got some depth. The kids are going to play. Don't send the kids back. If you have to deal off the major league roster and make a deal, do it. Because if you get another pitcher now, this team can do damage. They're in second place. They're tied now with the Padres for second place. They're at 500. And I've said it before. I said it out of spring training. This is a playoff team. As this season goes on, it takes time. Relax. It's going to be this way the whole way for the next 4 months. It's the cattle drive. It's the Red River movie. Things happen, and that's the way it is. But they've got the right guy at the helm, and that's Bob Melvin, who keeps it very calm and keeps this team on a very professional level. So that's my opinion. On 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, we've got a good show for you today. First of all, of course, Jordan Hicks pitches today, and I'll talk more about that after Susan Slusser is on and after Mark Simon comes on. But it's Jordan Hicks today, 4-1 with a 238 earned run average. Goes against Luis Severino, who's been very good for the Mets. Has a lot of those no-hit innings where he gets deep in the game and then something happens to him. The Giants, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs against them, but they were all in that 6th inning, if I remember correctly. No walks, 5 strikeouts. The league only hitting 209. Off of Severino, and Jordan Hicks was sick his last game. They're not going to push him hard. He doesn't throw 98 to 100 anymore. They're trying to preserve him, and he goes today. But 2 out, runners in scoring position, 1 for 15. And righties against him, 198. 198 right-handers against him. 6 stolen bases, no caught stealing. And 4 stolen bases, no caught stealing against Luis Severino. So that's the matchup today, Hicks and Severino for Game 2 of this series with the Mets. And what a road trip. Come on, Giants are 3-1 on the road. They're 12-10 in May now. On the road, they're 11-16 overall. 6-8 against the East. 2 for 6 last night, runners in scoring position. The Mets were 3 for 11. What a game. And it's not the first of the road trip. Every game on the road trip has been absolutely wild. You cannot walk away, and there's more to come. All right, Susan Slusser joins us next right here, KNBR 680, 104.5. We are live on the live stream here. Go to KNBR, go to YouTube, KNBR Livestream, and you actually can see me doing the show today. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's early. We're on early tomorrow as well, and then 10 o'clock on Monday morning. So it's a good time to be a Giants baseball fan right now. More coming up right after this.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Everyone likes a party, but everyone loves a party at Original Joe's. With 3 private dining rooms, it's the perfect spot to hold your next big event. From christenings to corporate gatherings, we'll make your next party San Francisco special. Original Joe's, see you at the counter.
Orange and Black family, the godfather of Giants baseball now continues. This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
Fans, it's great to have you back with us as we get ready for Giants baseball. Joining us is Susan Slusser of the Chronicle. Susan, you and I have talked baseball for close to 30 years. I don't know if we've ever seen a week of baseball like this, capped off by 8-7 last night. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy, Marty. And Grand Slams, 3 games in a row. I mean, I don't think I've seen that. I mean, it's getting to the point where I'm not couldn't 100% say that for sure, but I'd be surprised. But, you know, the Giants we're the last team to do this in 1999. I didn't see it, but possible many people listening did.
Well, I'll tell you something. When you look at 8-7 last night and the way it happens, the ball club is kind of gelling in a very interesting way with players that we didn't really expect. There's going to be a little bit of a logjam when Conforto comes back and Slater eventually comes back. But to get the boost they're getting this week from Matos and Ramos, Bailey, of course, coming back, Luciano, I didn't see this coming with this kind of emphasis.
Yeah, this is really fun. We've been waiting on some of these kids for a long time. And, of course, Matos during the spring looked so great. And I think there was some disappointment that he didn't make the club out of the spring. Wow, getting a shot, he really looks so good. He's better defensively, too, and that was really kind of the one concern about him. Sorry, as you can tell, I am walking down the street in New York, so you guys are getting some real New York feel right now, I think. But, yeah, Matos has just been wonderful. You know what? Not kind of a little bit off topic, but when you're talking about the outfield, Yaz looks like he's kind of starting to turn it around a little bit, too. You're right. They're going to have some really interesting decisions to make when they start getting some of their regulars who are on the IL back on the roster.
Boy, let's talk about the game last night. You did a great game story, by the way, folks. So just waking up, get online or buy the paper or whatever for the San Francisco Chronicle for Susan's game story. Really, really a good one. And it highlighted Matt Chapman, someone you've seen play for so many years. And look, I've watched baseball for many, many years. The play he made to end the game was one of the best plays I've ever seen a third baseman make. You can go back to Nettles, Brooks Robinson, any of the third basemen, Eric Chavez, Arenado. That play was outstanding.
Yeah, the degree of difficulty on almost every aspect of that play is astonishing. He's got the base runner taking off right in front of him and in his line of vision. Which that alone, an average third baseman, that can throw them off. Then he's got, it's do or die if you're barehanding a ball like that. It's a chopper. It's a slow chopper, but that's anybody that's ever played baseball or softball knows a barehand play like that coming right at you is not easy. And then he makes the great off-balance throw, and Lamont doesn't have an easy time of it either. He's got to get the throw on the hop and keep his foot on the bag, and he falls over at the same time. It still keeps his foot on the bag. That was really something on both ends. Let's not forget Lamont. He had a great game last night.
Boy, it was fabulous. Lamont was fabulous. And the interesting thing, Mark Vientos hit the ball, and when it was hit, I thought, okay, we've seen this a million times, a topper down the third base line, no one's ever going to get him. I thought they moved the bag back. I said, how can this guy get thrown out? And I heard he's 4.7, which is a very slow runner. And but the thing with that play for me was the throw. Not only getting rid of the ball and the barehanded part of it. And fans, if you didn't see it, look on YouTube or wherever you look at your videos on MLB.com. Matt Chapman, every throw he makes to first base is right there. It's either hits the guy in the chest or he doesn't have to move. That, to me, was the amazing part of the play.
Absolutely. It's really and he was putting so much pressure on himself. I mean, he told me, I put the weight of the world on me, more pressure on myself than anyone. And he was feeling it to the point where he was even making mistakes in the field that he normally doesn't. He obviously, the homers, these kind of plays, this is what the Giants were expecting and what Matt Chapman was expecting.
Well, Luciano, like an alarm clock goes off, he makes his error in the ninth inning, and Duvall's got to get out of the mess again Two things. One, the calmness of Duvall. And I think Estrada went into the mound. Didn't he go into the mound and kind of pump up Duvall a little bit? But the calmness of Duvall to go 3-0 on Vientos, bases loaded, tying run at third, and to come back and throw 2 strikes. Come on. That's another moment.
I honestly, he's tranquilo Camilo for a reason. Honestly, I think he kind of likes those situations. Look, no closer wants to be in that particular situation. That's as hairy as it gets. But I think he digs situations like that. And I'm sure we all know exactly what Tyro told him. It had to have been something like tranquilo, that's who you are, dude. It was just astonishing. I got to say, Marty, as fun as these are to watch, this is not a good recipe for success.
No.
They need to start scoring early and then holding the other team down. I mean, that's obvious, right? I'm not sure I've ever says FP State Pedro likes to say Captain Obvious, but they got to figure out a way to do that. And Kyle Harrison was saying that, like, we got to stop putting the offense in this position. Early in the year, it was kind of the other way around. The offense did nothing, and they wasted a lot of good starts. Now the offense is going, and the pitching's really got to pick it up.
Well, the bullpen is still there. Ryan Walker, another nice job for him. But I'm going to point out on the show today, Avila, who comes in. They call him the Vulture from Sacramento. He gave him 2 big innings. He gave up the home run. He did. But that 6th and 7th inning, that could have turned 6-2, could have been into 10-2, and the game really would have been over. But he held the line for the team and gave him 2 innings. I think he was worth a mention. Yeah, really nice. And, kind of a weird week for him. He goes out when Snell comes back, and he had a ticket to go to, I think it was Bowie, Maryland, where Richmond was playing, kind of like Sable. Hang out nearby just in case. He stayed at the hotel that night and then still was hanging around the next day when they said, yeah, we're going to send Snell back because of the baby. Come on back. So a little bit of a strange one for him. Patrick Bailey, he gets his pitch 2-0, and boy, these bullpens, the Pirates and the Met bullpen last night, they get behind and they just throw strikes right down the middle. But I will tell you this, he didn't miss his pitch. He did not miss it. That was some home run.
Yeah, I think we're also starting to know the Patrick Bailey style, too. He's just sort of laconic, Southern kid. He was like, yeah, well, I knew I had to throw the strike, and if it was a good one, I was going to hit. Like, everybody else in there was so excited. Chapman was still literally hopping around as we were talking to him. And Bailey was just so like, I just hit the first Grand Slam of my career, no big deal, which is, kind of for a guy in his position, a catcher, that's another good thing. I'm sure that actually helps guys like Camilo when you've got a catcher who's just kind of like, it's all going to be fine. So, yeah, good stuff.
He put him and Duvall together, and you have some real excitement. Susan Slusser is with us as she disappears into the New York subway here. Look, you've watched baseball much longer than anyone probably in the Bay Area here who's on the beat. You and John and Bruce together. But have you ever seen a week like this?
I'd be hard-pressed. I mean, I know I covered some of those A's teams that were real surprises. That 2012 team that wasn't even supposed to be like maybe a little bit over 500 team that won the division. They had a few crazy, great stretches that always seemed to involve Brandon Moss somehow. I'd have to go back and look, but that's the only team I can remember. I'm sure some of those good Giants teams had a few crazy stretches like this, but I don't know. It's the 3 Grand Slams, the 3 comebacks that are really pop out. And then that play last night, that's just the capper. But you know what? I'm ready for a nice, easy one, I think.
Good luck.
I think that would be nice. It's a day game in New York, Marty. I've got plans. I don't want to have to do a hasty rewrite for the 5th day in a row.
Okay. All right. Hey, love hearing your voice, and I know you're excited, and you'll have a good day today. Susan, thanks so much.
Thank you, Marty. Nice talking to you.
All right, a pleasure. We'll see Susan next weekend. All right, more coming up. KNBR 680, 104.5, the sports leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Marty Lurie here, reporting from River Islands in Lathrop, Northern California's best-selling master plan community. The breaking news from River Islands is the announcement that Del Webb, the best-known name in active adult living, is coming to River Islands this fall. It's been years since Del Webb has offered a new community in Northern California, and people are already signing up for their interest list. With a September opening in view, Del Webb is building 3 different model complexes for their 9 home designs. All of the homes are single-story, and 2 and 3 bedroom plans will be available. The community, it'll have its own lake and an amenity center with sport courts, a pool, club rooms, and a fitness center. Del Webb will be joining the River Islands roster of fine home builders that are creating all new neighborhoods near the San Joaquin River, alongside a lake or close to parks or trails. You can start your tour now at riverislands.com. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? This one sure is for me. Experience the epitome of luxury and craftsmanship with Inicio Windows and Doors, another exciting product line from BMD Manufacturing. Inicio Windows and Doors sets the standard in ultra-premium European design. Wow. For the most demanding American building standards. Available both in steel and aluminum, they are meticulously engineered to elevate your living space to new heights of sophistication. Learn more about Inicio Windows and Doors today. Discover the perfect blend of European beauty and style with unwavering durability and strength. Visit InicioWindows.com. INICIO Windows.com. Inicio Windows and Doors, where European design meets American craftsmanship.
Mark Simon. Mark, I love you, man. The runners go. The pitch. Little bouncer hits slowly to third. Chapman barehands it. One hops over to first, and Wade makes the grab. What a play on both ends. Wow. The Giants have won it on a miraculous play.
Oh, no! The best open in the history of radio, and that's for Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions. Mark A. Simon says on Twitter. Boy, a great call by John to end the game last night. Mark, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Raph, good job putting that thing in. That was very cool. Matt Chapman does not make a lot of barehanded plays, and that was certainly a well-timed one. Very impressive. Perfect with the, oh no, to go with it.
Well, look, a couple of things. One, I've watched baseball for a long time, and I've seen great third basemen. I mean, I can go back to Billy Cox and of the Dodgers way back then, and Eddie Matthews, and there's just so many of them. Greg Nettles and Aurelio Rodriguez and Brooks Robinson and Mike Schmidt. This Matt Chapman, Mark, is just one of the best I have seen. He really is. The throws are accurate. But to come in and make that play that I've seen Brooks Robinson make a million times, to make it with the game on the line, and this Mark Vientos running, who I thought he was running in mud, that he couldn't beat this thing out. I thought they moved the bag back on him. But to throw a bullet right to Wade on a hop, almost blindly, it was really one of the best third base plays I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, there was definitely a combination of events that made that play happen. Mark Vientos is the second slowest Met. Tomas Nido is a little slower, but Mark Vientos is 23, 24, 25. He's slower, or basically the same speed as JD Martinez, who's got like 10 years on him and who's a pretty large person. He's slower than Pete Alonso. So all of that, I think, was needed. That doesn't happen. We're not necessarily talking about that with anybody else. So, but kudos to Matt for making the play. Certainly, he plays a deeper third base than most. Like, he's typically right-handed hitter, 3-4 feet deeper than Arenado, 3-4 feet deeper than Austin Riley, a couple of feet deeper than Alec Boehm, who's pretty good on the bare hand, deeper than Bregman. Bregman tends to play shallow, and he makes a lot of bare hand plays. That's not usually his thing, but really his thing is everything, pretty much. Like, there isn't a weakness in his defensive game. The hip seems to be healed. He had said like a year or so ago that the first year after the hip injury he had been told was going to be really hard, and that after that he was going to feel like something close to himself. And I think what you're seeing is the defense of someone who feels like pretty close to himself.
Well, it's amazing to watch him play day after day, and the bat all week long. And I said this with Susan Slusser, and look, you've watched baseball a long time. Well, of course, we know it hasn't happened before on the road. You got to go back to 1932 and things like that. But to come back 4 down or more, to come back late and win the games, what a week for the Giants.
Yeah, they basically pushed all of their best highlights for the season into the last few days. And it's funny, I should have told Ralph, there's a clip of me from like a week or two ago, I guess it'd be 2 weeks ago, saying, boy, this Giants team seems kind of boring. It feels like they've been the opposite of that in the past week. They've been fantastic. The comeback wins are very eerily reminiscent of the hockey team that's playing in New York right now, by the way. and they have stacked together some very impressive wins. And I think the big thing here is that the kids have come up, and that the kids are not zeros. The kids are good players so far, although Luciano's got some work to do in the field, clearly.
Well, and I'll go to Luciano for a second. And, the Giants have always had great shortstops, and Chris Mavo corrects me. In 1971, it wasn't Hal Lanier, it was Chris Spire with his rookie year.
Gotta get it right.
I know. That's why we have Chris out there and listening. So my point is you got to have a solid shortstop to win. Yes. But with Luciano, I'd let him play. I would, and if Nick Ahmed has got to come in and bruise his ego, come in the 8th or 9th inning in close games, let's do it. But the bat plays for me. He doesn't pull the ball. Everything he hits is to right field, but he's going to be a star. Even though last night he doesn't slide into second base, which he should have done, and he made a couple of errors last night, which unfortunately happens. I think the kid is going to be a star, and I say let him play.
Yeah, well, your alternative right now came up and had 22 at-bats and hit 136. And the Giants saw that before last year. And I think at this point, you got to give the guy a shot to see if he's going to hit 136 like Casey Schmidt did, or if he's going to be able to have this kind of a nice stretch. And just going back to what I said, like, if you combine all those guys that the Giants called up last year that there was some expectation for, or something good happened at the very start and then it kind of like petered out, and that I think Casey Schmidt's kind of the lead of that. If you combine all those guys in terms of like the wins stats, like the wins above replacement, those guys were negatives last year. If those guys come up this year and they're 1s and 2s, that's like adding on like really significant players, because not only do you need the stars who are like your 5 wins and your 6 wins, and your Logan Webbs, but you need your 1s and 2s not to be zeros, because those are going to help kind of push you forward, especially in a situation like the 6th seed. Essentially, every year, I think the 6th seed is going to be a 5-team battle, and every little thing counts. And Marco Luciano is so far off to a good start. And then like Brett Wisely gets a hit on 0-2, which he never does in his whole career. And you got to steal some games, and they've stole plenty of games this week for sure.
Well, look, they beat up a Rockies bullpen that was awful.
Yep.
They took advantage of a Pirate bullpen that was totally depleted.
Yep.
Pirates had come off a tough series, and their bullpen was depleted. And then you get to the Mets, and I thought their bullpen was a little bit better. This Garrett, who they really took apart last night, has had a great season, but he's sort of wavered recently. And your guy, the trumpet guy, is now in the 7th inning, Edwin Diaz. And so now today, look, it's Hicks and Severino today.
Yep.
It's going to be a bullpen game. You know it. I know it. That's what's going to happen today. What's the state of the Mets bullpen right now?
It doesn't seem particularly great. They just lost Brooks Raley, who was their top lefty for the season with Tommy John surgery. Diaz lost 2 miles an hour on his fastball velocity in the time that he was out, and he also lost the bite on his slider a little bit. It comes up a little higher in the zone. It's a little more hittable. Reed Garrett had a 4 or 5 week period where he was great. He tends to keep the ball down. I was surprised in the Chapman at bat, which I just rewatched about half an hour ago, that he didn't throw a high fastball by him because it would have caught him completely by surprise. Jorge Lopez has been good, but uneven the rest of it. Adam Ottavino, sometimes good. Jake Diekman, a lot of walks. They're a challenge right now. Mets season really got away from them in the last 10 days. As good as the Giants' luck has gone, it's basically gone the opposite way for them, and for their bullpen for that matter.
Yeah, well, that's a game of bullpens, and it will be one today, so that bodes well, at least, for maybe another crazy finish today. The Mets have lost 4 straight, 11 of 14, and then 9 and 21 in the last 30 games. It reminds me of, remember Charlie Dressen, the old manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Washington Senators? Yes, you do. Come on.
I know the name. I know the name. I don't remember him.
Come on. My sister Renee is watching the live stream on YouTube, KNBR Livestream. She remembers Charlie Dressen. All right. So what he would say was just keep him close. I'll think of something by the 7th inning. And
Exactly.
this team is get down by 4. Don't worry. I'll think of something in the late innings. That's Bob Melvin. That's what's going on here. It's really uncanny. What about Matos and the week he had? How about what this guy's doing? Look, he doesn't swing and miss. You know, he hit a ground ball last night and drove in a run. You know, he's a kid, like you say. You know, he's going to have to adjust all the time. But he's starting to play pretty good center field. And how about this? You know, driving in, 11 runs in 2 games and knocked Eddie Matthews out of the record books and Mel Ott and people like that.
Yeah, crazy. I think the thing that is funny about him is that he always makes contact. Like, he has 2 strikeouts and 1 walk in 51 plate appearances. He's a smart hitter. The 3 catches are really nice. You hope that he can maintain that defensive consistency because – if you remember, I feel like at the start of his run last year, he showed to be a pretty good defensive player, and then it got worse as the year went. So maybe he's 22. He's still got plenty of upside, and as I said, if he can be a 1 or a 2 win player as compared to a negative, that's a huge addition. To know that you had that kind of depth behind Jung-Hoo Lee, that's because, like, if you were thinking Jung-Hoo Lee was going to be a 3 or a 4 and you're replacing him with a 0, yikes, then you're losing 3 wins. But if you're replacing him with a 1 or a 2, it's nearly a wash, which is important.
I use the metaphor, the alarm clock has gone off. You know, and I know, look, I love the New York Rangers. I grew up in New York, you know that. And I know that's your team, and they had a big win last night, thank God, to tie that series up 1-1. But the alarm clock has gone off. We now have a baseball season. And it goes off every year because people go, oh, the team stinks, this is that. And they go 2 months, get rid of this guy and all that. And all of a sudden, the alarm clock goes off and you realize this is what baseball's all about. You got 4 months coming up of this kind of tightness. And I think we hit it last night.
Yeah, I think we're there. 52 games down, 110 to go. If you had told me that the Giants would be 26-26 after 52, I would have said that's a pretty realistic depiction of what I think their season is going to be. I thought that they might be a little better than that, 27-25, 28-24, maybe. But 26-26 feels about right to me. And it seems like they have hit their stride. The thing is, they're going to have to do better than 2-11 against the Dodgers, with whatever they've got against the Dodgers the rest of the way, and essentially the same with the Padres. And they're going to have to show up against the Phillies in this next series, because you can beat up on all the Pirates and the Rockies and the Mets that you want, but there's going to come a point where you're going to have to get some wins against somebody else. In order to get to that, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88 that you want to get a playoff spot.
You are exactly right, and I thought of this this week. They're better than the Mets. They're better than the Pirates. They're better than the Reds. They're better than the Cardinals. There are a lot of teams they're better than, and they should beat those teams, and beat them badly, and then just go 500. Against the good teams, but you got to win some of the games against the good teams, which they're capable of doing. But you're right. But I think they're better than the other teams that are in the mix for those wild cards. I think they're better than those teams.
But let us be honest too, that there is great distance between them and the Phillies and the Dodgers and the Braves at this point. They're in this hodgepodge of teams that is kind of like what you would call reasonably decent. And I think if Blake Snell gets on track somehow, that improves the reasonable decency to a point where you can be right in the thick of it. If the young kids come up and play well, and you don't have to pitch some of those guys in the bullpen that you pitched earlier this season that had 10, 12 ERAs. Yeah, they're right there with the kind of like the second and a half tier. Like I would put the Brewers in the second tier. I'd probably put the Cubs in the second tier, and then the Giants are in that next tier after that with the Diamondbacks and the Padres and whoever else wants to be there.
Yeah, it's true. All those losses at 26, 27, 24, that's where all these teams are. And I'm not even going to put them behind the Cubs and the Brewers yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. All right, Mark Simon is with us. Hey, are you going to be on TV today?
I'm going to be on the radio today with Flem, probably middle innings for an inning or so. I'll probably give a little plug for the company that I work for and talk a little Giants baseball with him.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, so Mark Simon gets a little radio time. You have that face for radio, right?
I do. I think that's appropriate, yes.
Oh, no! All right, I'm glad the Rangers won, though. Thank God for that. All right, I was dreading having you on if they were down 2-0 in the series.
I'm in a good mood today.
All right. C.B. Buckner is behind the plate today. What do you think of him? Boy, let me tell you something. By the way, the whole week the umpiring has been awful all week.
Yeah, I can't do much about that, but I can tell you that C.B. Buckner has the strangest strike zone in baseball. Left-handed hitters, it's small except for if the pitch is low, in which case it gets really big. For right-handed hitters, it's a small zone in a couple of places, but it's really big outside. It's really big. It's small down. Like he's very strange because left-handed hitter, right-handed hitter. Normally in baseball, strike zone's a little bigger for a right-handed hitter, but his zone is like so bizarrely big and small in different spots that he's just really strange, and it manages to tick off just about everybody. And I'm hopeful that he doesn't tick off everybody today, but C.D. Buckner just seems to have a way about him when it comes to umpiring games that is, we'll call it unusual.
It would be fun to listen to you and Dave talking about that.
I do want to bring that up with him for sure.
Yeah, believe me, Dave will be all over that with you. Very good. Okay. Yep. What does that mean for the pitching matchup today? Let's start with your guy first, Severino.
Yeah, so Luis Severino is a lot better than he was last season, but he had nowhere to go but up. And he's improved on it in a few areas. He added a sweeper. He's throwing fewer four seams in general, which is good because people hit 350 and slugged 700 against four seam last year. He had a not so great start last time out, but his slider was pretty nasty. He was a little tough to hit in that game. He's capable of throwing 6 or 7 innings and allowing 2 or 3 hits.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of ground balls, which is was true early in his career. It's come back to be true this season. So I think with Severino, he's getting the ground balls. If he is effective with the four seam, Giants might be in a little trouble today.
Yeah, he goes at 6 no-hit innings, 5 no-hit innings, and he did that the last time against the Giants, and they got to him.
Yep.
So we'll see. But it will be bullpen after that, and that's where it's going to get a little strange for the Mets. All right, Giants have a lot of depth in that bullpen. I will tell you this: they got rid of those 10 ERA guys, and they've got 13 guys. They could go to anybody, including Drew Pomerantz. Now they brought him back, and you hold the bottle, I'll bring the lightning. As they hope to do something with him. But what about for Hicks today? What do you expect from him?
I think everyone's watching his velocity today because he was throwing 91, 92 last time out.
He was sick,
he couldn't get loose. Yeah, he just couldn't get loose. And there's a big difference between 91, 92 and 93 to 95. It's probably 30 points, 35 points in slugging, 16 points in batting average. Split is good. Split helped him survive the last time out. Split's been good. He just has to get guys willing to chase it. I think the Mets will be willing to chase it today. Other than that, he has been effective the longer he goes in a game, which I think is something that people were wondering was going to happen. And I'm curious if that still holds true this year, but so far so good for him. The thing I would watch for him is the fastball velo and whether or not he's able to succeed the second time through the order.
Yeah, 6 stolen bases, no caught stealing, but you got to get on against him. That first time through 183, then 253, then the third time through 212. So you're right, he gets better as the game goes on. So we'll see what happens today. What's your overall take on the Mets? Are they just cooked right now? Can they come back and get back into anything?
The Mets right now in the New York Sports Power Rankings, I think, right behind just about every other team, including the Liberty.
Okay, I was going to say the Lynx. Are they in there?
Yeah. The Mets right now are in a season where I think there's a lot of fan frustration that they chose to go this route, where they're going to probably in the next couple of months call up more guys. Christian Scott, who we saw last night, was just
good.
The beginning on that. They're gonna have to make a decision on Pete Alonso, and I think they're waiting that out to see what kind of season he has. Because if they do it now, Scott Boras is going to price them out of it. They're lacking considerably defensively. They're lacking in the starting rotation. They need Senga back. They are generally lacking. That's why right now they're in that probably the tier that's a tier below the Giants. The way that they've played these last 10 games or so.
All right. Hey, we'll talk to you on Monday. Have a great day today, and I appreciate having you on. A lot of fun. Thanks, Mark.
You got it. Oh, no.
Okay, that's Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions. If you didn't get enough of him right now, listen to the game today. He'll be on with Dave as a special guest. All right, more coming up. Bruce Jenkins next, right here on the Sports Leader. Fans, I want to welcome Rick Robin Construction to the family this year, and Rick is an expert in the home construction, remodeling of kitchen and baths in Napa and Sonoma. And Rick, what really impressed me getting to know you, the way you approach your business. Now, let's say I'm a guy who says, I want my kitchen remodeled. What do you do?
Well, the first thing you do is you'll call, you'll speak to Tammy, we'll make an appointment. Say we're going to do a kitchen. We'll decide what kind of kitchen you want. And if you like the estimate, I'll come back out, take detailed measurements, and then I'll take you down to our 30,000 square foot showroom and meet our designer. So you'll pick out all your cabinets, stone, your sinks, faucets, your flooring. Once all the material's in the warehouse, we'll pick it up, deliver it, start construction.
Boy, I love it. Beginning to end, Rick Robin Construction takes care of it. Rick, it's a great way to do business. Fans, if you want to get in touch with Rick, it's Rick Robin, RICKROBBEN, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, how about a phone number if folks want to call you?
Yeah, call us at 707-332-7575, 7 days a week.
Rick Robin Construction in Napa. I heard from Gene Bagato, and he said that with summer just around the corner up at the Tides in Bodega Bay, they are getting ready and looking forward to welcoming everyone looking to get away and enjoy the Sonoma coast. In addition to offering the best seafood available in the restaurant, the fish market features a wide array of delicacies, from smoked fish and charcuterie to cheeses, gourmet crackers, and assorted beverages. Everything one needs for a picnic at the beach. Boy, that sounds terrific. And if you're looking to stay a while, the Inn at the Tides with its spacious, updated rooms is there waiting for you. So if you're thinking about planning a summer getaway, not too far from the Bay Area, remember the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. I'll see you there.
Look through the window of the original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Laurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us. We're enjoying the KNBR live stream. If you go to YouTube or various places, you can click on and watch the show as we're doing it. Bruce Jenkins, good morning. How are you?
Good, Marty. How's it going?
Well, it's what a week. You know, you and I said it to Susan, you and Susan and John have watched more baseball than anybody. And what a week of baseball for the Giants. Just amazing.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, you're starting to think there's nothing they can't pull off right now. You know, it's such a fantastic streak that they're on. And I tell you, I can't remember too many finishes as quite like last night's. I mean, we've seen walk-off homers and great catches, but just everything that went into it. You know, the way they've been playing to cap a huge win. The Chapman's play was unbelievable. Wade with a fantastic, lurching catch a short hop and winds up on his butt. I mean, and Dave Fleming going crazy. It was really, really exciting. And what I like about it the most, the way they're going, is that what they're doing, you associate it with the kids, up and down, but they're playing and they're doing it. Bailey and Luciano and Ramos and Matos and Randy Rodriguez. And, this is what we've hoped would happen, and maybe we're starting to see it really get sustainable.
Yeah, and the other one is Lamont Wade, Bruce. And I know
of course, yeah.
No, you wrote about him today, and I urge everyone, of course, to read Bruce every weekend in the Chronicle and online. I can't wait to see what you're going to say each week, but Lamont Wade has been outstanding. Talk about Lamont Wade, Bruce, and just the season this guy's having.
Well, it's an all-star season. I mean, he totally belongs in the game the way it's going right now. He's a solid hitter. His on-base percentage is really kind of ridiculous. It's almost 500 when you think about getting on base half the time, which is either right at the top of the big leagues or very close to it. And I was just looking at in terms of the All-Star game, he's got a lot of really solid guys beat. I mean, he's got better credentials than Pete Alonso and Cronenworth and Christian Walker and some of these guys. I really wonder if he might hit a roadblock with Bryce Harper, and Freddie Freeman. Those guys are just institutions, and they may not be having career years, but they're doing it. They're performing. They show up on the highlights, and that's who people think of when they vote, and whoever it may be. The Giants fans know what's going on. I think people around the baseball are becoming aware of Wade for sure, but whether he gets into the All-Star game, I don't know, but he sure deserves it.
Yeah, I think so. He's not missing his pitch, and as I say, he's like Brandon Belt. You might as well start the count at 3-2 because it's going there anyway. But playing first base, though, he's very aware. He's getting to be a very good first baseman now. Look, Chapman makes it easy for him, and Estrada, sometimes they'll throw the ball a little awkwardly, but he makes all the plays at first base.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's what really makes him an admirable player, and it fits into what the Giants want. They want to pick up the ball way better than they have in the past. Chapman obviously is great. Luciano's a work in progress for sure, but for the most part, Bailey guns out a guy last night. Estrada's been reliable. Yaz in right field, and it's just the defense it can be a little adventurous sometimes, but it's getting better. And Wade he's really solid over there. I have no problem with his defense. I don't think he's quite a Brandon Belt, but he like you say, he makes the plays.
Yeah, he does, and he makes some awkward plays too.
Yeah,
falling off the bag and things like that. And he saved the game last night, I think. But going back to Chapman for just a minute, Bruce, it's been a while since I saw a guy who could carry a team. That phrase, he carries the team. I mean, Bonds could do it. Jeff Kent could probably do it. Maybe Belt could do it when he really would get hot, remember? But this Chapman is carrying the team right now. When he comes up, he's dangerous, and he's doing it in the field and at the plate. And that, for me, to see him hit, because I thought, man, 96 up in the zone, he'll never catch up. And he's doing it. Now he's hitting. This is a serious player. This is a heck of a third baseman.
Oh, yeah. It takes me back to his early days with the A's. He was all of that you just said. I mean, he did catch up to the high fastball. He did hit the low and away pitch or lay off one that was going to get him, struck out. Not a great hitter, not quite Arenado in terms of third base, but the defense is ridiculous. And I've always thought he's a good hitter. I was really questioning that, just a couple weeks ago, really. But he's kicked in now. He's a threat, and he does. I don't know if he. I mean, to say he carries the team, there's so many guys doing well. I mean, Solera is starting to hit now, and Estrada. These guys are getting big hits too, and the kids are doing their thing, and Logan Webb and everything else, and Duvall. But you're right, Chapman. He characterizes where they're at right now and why they're a must-watch and why they're good, on both sides of the ball, as they say.
Yeah, his home runs are huge. The three-run homers bring you back in the game. When you're down by 4, you've got to do it quickly, and he's been doing that. Let's talk about Luciano a little bit. As I went through the great shortstops and the Giants win pennants, you go back to Alvin Dark and Travis Jackson and people like that, and Chris Spire and Pagan and Renteria and Uribe and so on and so forth, getting to Craw. You need a good shortstop. I don't know what to say about Luciano. I love him. I love the bat. He doesn't pull the ball. He hits the right field a lot, and that's probably a function of his age. But I think the kid should play, and if Ahmed's got to come in the 8th or 9th inning, so be it.
Oh, yeah, they have to ride this out.
Right?
It is, absolutely. I mean, he makes an error in the first inning last night. His throw hit the runner. That wasn't a terrible throw. I mean, he hit the guy in the back.
Right.
If you're deadly accurate, you miss the guy and put it out where Wade can stab it. But then in the 9th inning, this is when he's had his troubles, and he does it again. He got an easy long hop there, Marty, and he bobbled it. That's rough.
Well, the glove, I don't know what he did with his glove. His glove was backwards.
Well, he had a left-hander's shortstop.
Really?
You don't
might
see
as
those
well.
two guys. Yeah. But I really like his bat. I mean, there's no problem for him going to right field. He's got big power, which we've seen in the minors, and they're pitching away from that. But he's a natural opposite field hitter. He did it twice last night. It was kind of a gift triple, but it was a ball that he hit to right. Then he did that twice. He hit a bloop single in the big 8th inning to right field. So it's tough, but you're glad to see him. Ahmed, that doesn't lead anywhere. Luciano could lead to great things.
Yeah. Matos has done it. Look, the bat is something, and I think Mark Simon said it. He's got 2 walks and 1 strikeout in 60 plate appearances. The guy makes contact.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good. I think you just leave him out there and you just don't mess around.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, he got a huge break when Jung-Hoo Lee went out because that's done. That's the season, and it's his job now. He's going to have to really screw it up to lose that job, and I don't think he will. He does make contact. He gets big hits. He got a hit the other night when they were down to their last strike, and they wound up winning the game. And I like him on defense.
That?
That was huge. He's still a little raw in the outfield, but he's also very grateful, and he's a ball hawk, and he makes the easy plays and some of the tough plays too. I just think he's a very talented kid who's who's getting some time, and who knows? I mean, sometimes when somebody gets to play every day, it's a little bit kicks in, and next thing you know, that you can't get him out of there.
I like the look on his face.
Yeah, exactly.
He is dead serious. This is not, he never laughs. I mean, this man comes to play baseball, and he's hard-nosed. And I think that's what the young people are giving them. I think they've given them that shot of adrenaline, and it's shown the guys who were there, the team was dead on the bench and everything else. And now you got guys who come out there to play. And let's go. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what's great about all these guys is they don't go crazy when they do something. They're not jumping up and down and pounding their chest and look at me. And, it's like, I did this, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, Soler. He's starting to loosen up a little bit. He's knocked a couple out, but now he's starting to miss just by an inch or so on the bat of getting more. I think he's due.
Yeah, well, his track record suggests that he's going to kick in a big way. I mean, this guy was the MVP of the World Series. I mean, the moment doesn't.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, and he had a terrible start. Then just when he started crushing the ball, and everyone was caught. You're thinking, man, this guy can't buy a break, and then his slump gets even worse. But just lately, he got a couple hard-hit singles the night before last, and then he gets another one last night. I just like the sight of him up there. I think he's going to stop chasing the low and away pitch. He has to. I don't think he's been known for a guy who's just relentless strikeouts on that pitch. I think he's going to take care of that, and once he does, he'll be helping the team too.
Yeah, he's going to help. And when Conforto comes back, I can see him splitting some DH time if necessary.
Right.
With Soler. And Wilmer Flores is your magic bullet off the bench when you need that hit in the eighth inning, which is fine to use him that way. You don't have to have him in there and taking weight out of the lineup.
Yeah, it's funny. All these guys we talk about, it's not like watching the Dodgers or the Braves, but all these guys, you want to watch them. They're a fun group to watch. They're fun individually. Even Harrison. I'm always going to stick by Harrison as a guy who's going to be a big winner in the bigs. He had a rough outing last night, but he's a competitor. And these guys, they want the big moment, and they've really been coming through a lot as a group.
Yeah, Harrison, if he gets his fastball over and gets ahead in the count, then his secondary stuff, he can put you away or put you away with another fastball. But if he is down in the count 2-0, he can't throw that secondary stuff. It's not that good to fool everybody. So he's got to have control, and he didn't have his control last night. That was the problem with him, and gave up some home runs, but I love him. I think he's been terrific, and Webb is the guy who's going to give you 7. The thing is, Snell is coming back. What did you think of Snell this week?
Well, I mean, you hear that, he's got a blister, not on his finger, but on his foot, I guess, and he's got
I'm tired of hearing things like that,
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. It took him a while to admit that he had it, but you don't want to hear that. And he's on paternity leave, and that's a concern. But I mean, he started 2 different innings with a 4-pitch walk, Marty.
Yeah.
That you just can't do that. He was bouncing a lot of curveballs in the dirt. He hit McCutchen with the bases loaded. It was just really rough. Again, he hasn't had the kind of rhythm that you like to have had once you get into May. It's like he's just now starting out, and that only reinforced that thought that he needs more time to get everything together and put the pieces together, and then he'll throw the greatest curve you've ever seen and strike out one of the best hitters in the league, or blow a high fastball by him. He's got great stuff. He's a flaky guy. We've talked about him for years, but this is a guy with a lot of stuff. And he's gonna pitch some great games that make you realize what he is. But I wonder the consistency. Who knows? Right now, you have to wonder.
Yeah, he's gonna get the Phillies on Monday. It's gonna be fun to preview one with you on Monday morning. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Depth, and that's the last thing I want to say about the Giants. We've got a whole weekend to talk about them. The pitching depth, the bullpen depth is pretty good. Earlier in the year they had Roop and different people, and their earned run averages were 10. Now, you get Randy Rodriguez, who comes in, and he's a young Duvall. Jelly has been terrific. Miller's been terrific, and they got Drew Pomerantz back and see what he can do. They've got some depth in the. Yeah, Drew Pomerantz. They signed him yesterday. He was warming up in the bullpen. He warmed up in the bullpen last night. If the Giants were not, if they didn't come back in the 8th inning, he was coming in. So he's back. They've got some depth now because Bruce. I don't know what Hicks is going to give them today, but it's probably going to be 5 or 6. They're going to be in that bullpen again. They're in there every day. And you're going to need that entire bullpen, and Walker, Jackson, all of them, they all are capable.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get on a road trip like this, you get wild games, and you're using a lot of relievers, and they're surviving it. It's not like the bullpen is torched or anything. I mean, Melvin's very careful about not overloading guys, but they have a procession of guys. Last night, for example, Walker 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. They just took care of the Mets. Boom, 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 and then you get to Doval, and that's usually going to wind up. It's usually going to wind up good, but and then it's like you say, these guys have stuff. Miller's got great stuff. He loves to get out there and just fire away. And Jelly's a totally different kind of guy. He's about 8 feet tall, and he's got the big cutter now, and his submarining rod. Talk about different looks that they can throw at you, and that's a big deal. When you have a succession of reliever, you see the next guy is like nothing like the last guy you saw, and then Randy Rodriguez has got tremendous stuff. So that's looking good right now. Bullpens are weird. They're probably going to have a terrible stretch, but then they're going to have one like now where it's really encouraging.
Yep, and they need it because with this starting staff, these are not guys who go that deep in the game, so they're going to need them as the summer goes on. Joey Bart hit a grand slam, and of course, look, Bailey hit a grand slam too. But I want to say this about Bart: he was never going to supplant Patrick Bailey. It was never going to happen. He can't catch like Bailey can, and we saw it in the Pirates series. He did hit the grand slam, good for him. But they made the right decision with Bailey.
Oh yeah, I mean, just against the Giants, Bart, a ball kind of went right through him. That wasn't even in the dirt, and he's not a great blocker. And then Bailey he's one of the best young defensive catchers to come along in a long time.
Yep.
That last year they were comparing him to Yadier Molina. I mean, which is a bit of a reach, but I mean, he guns out a guy. On the bases just when you need him. He hits a slam. Yeah, never with Bart. As long as Bailey is healthy, that's not even an issue. And Bart's got a live bat. He hits the heck out of the ball.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's great for him. He's in the right place. The kid that was ahead of him was sent to the minors, and Yasmani Grandal is a good veteran, but Bart's getting his playing time there, and the fans probably like him. But Bailey's in a class by himself, really, among the young catchers, I think. And Murphy, who knows what goes on there, and Soler and how they handle the backup. They just need Bailey. They really need Bailey to stay healthy. That's a huge key. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't miss his pitch last night, 2-0, and he got one right down the middle, and he just crushed it, and that won the game for him. Just very quickly, Yankees just blasted the Padres.
God.
And they're coming in next weekend. Every time I look at the box score, Stanton, Judge, and Soto homered. But they do this every game almost.
Yeah, and yesterday they did it all in one inning against Yu Darvish, who came in with some crazy streak of
27
innings.
Scoreless or something, yeah.
I was just thinking, I mean, these three guys, they're all an absolute show in themselves. Soto's a fantastic showman. He's so fun to watch. Judge, to say the least, hit more homers than Roger Maris, and Stanton, he hits the ball harder than anybody. I mean, I was just trying to think of a comparison of like three guys like that. It's like Canseco and McGuire, and maybe when Dave Parker was healthy, or obviously the Giants had Mays, McCovey, and Cepeda, or maybe Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, and Joe Adcock. But there's three guys.
That's where I was going to go. Yep.
Three guys you can't leave your seat. You're locked in for this sequence. Because it's not just that they might hit it out, but they'll go. You'll be thinking, "Oh my goodness!" And then Soto hit another one last night. So yeah, they're ridiculously fun.
Yeah, and the Dodgers got a wallop last night. I love it. We've got 4 months ahead of us 4 months ahead of us. The Dodgers got walloped. They've lost 3 in a row. Reds finally woke up a little bit, and Arizona still, Gallen got beat, and the Marlins got a shutout from Garrett last night.
Yeah, he went the distance.
Come on, he shut out Arizona in Arizona last night.
Yeah.
So, boy, this is good.
The Dodgers had Dave Roberts had a terrible moment yesterday. I've always railed against taking a guy out when he's on the verge of a win and he's got a lead. The worst I think I've ever seen was earlier this year when the Mets were in town and Carlos Mendoza yanks Sean Manaea. He's 1 out away in the 5th. He's got a 6-0 lead. And it was really bad. Kruko was killing him, and Manaea, you can see him in the dugout going, what the hell? But last night, James Paxton, he had a 5-4 lead. He wasn't dominating, but he's got the first 2 guys. He's got a 5-4 lead in the 5th. He walks a guy and Roberts yanks him. I'm thinking right away, really this guy's a little bit, he's not a guarantee to be a big-time Dodger. He could use a win. He brings in somebody named Johan Ramirez, who for a righty-righty matchup, he immediately goes 3-0 on the guy, then he hits him. Then he walks a guy on 4 horrible pitches, then he hits another guy on a 3-0 pitch. I was just standing and cheering. Like, thank you, Dave. Good Lord. Horrible. And then finally they get him out of there, and then India hits a slam. Just thank you. It's justice for what happened to James Paxton.
Well, yeah, this is what baseball's all about. And as the summer goes on and the pitchers get even more tired and we have more crazy comebacks, this is what's going to happen. Very quickly, a historical note today, and I think it's the debut of Willie Mays today as a New York Giant, right, Bruce?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. They signed Mays, and they sent him to the Minneapolis. Well, they sent him to Trenton quick, but they moved him up to the Minneapolis Millers. Were a AAA club that went back to 1902. They'd been playing ball there. I mean, Rube Waddell played there, and so now they got Mays out there. He just graduated high school. It seemed like yesterday, and he was there for 30 games or something. And hit 35 games. He hit 477. And they were talking about the throws that he made. Like, nobody's quite seen a throw like that. He made a catch in Minneapolis. He went way up on how the scoreboard that just has the innings and they put up the numbers. And he went way up on one of those, leaping out of the building and banged into it and made a catch. The guy who hit it was hustling with his head down. He got to second. He couldn't believe that it was caught. The manager had to go out and tell him that the Mays caught the ball. He's standing at second. No, he didn't. You couldn't catch that ball, but Mays did. I mean, that's the kind of impression he made in Minneapolis. So anyway, they bring him up. You have to bring him up, and Leo DeRocher's got him hitting third like right away, and it didn't work out so well. He went 0 for 12. But he still had Mays hitting third when they faced Warren Spahn of the Boston Braves. So here's Mays, the big star in the minors. He's 0 for 12, and he homers off Spahn, and that kind of, the rest is history. But I would have loved to have seen Mays in Minneapolis, I'll tell you that. Well,
come on, he hit the ball off Spahn over the roof in the Polo Grounds. But, and I did the shows with Willie. One day I said, and Willie hit 474 at Minneapolis, and he goes, 477.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
said, okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
So good.
All right, good. Hey, have a great day. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. This is going to be a good weekend. Thanks, Bruce.
Absolutely. Thanks, Marty.
All right, take care. All right, Doug Greenwald. Yes, Doug Greenwald next. We're going to hear what he's up to these days right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, it's great to have you back with us as we're joined by Grant Power. He is the president and CEO of Nations. Grant, I love to talk about the menu at Nations, especially this time of year. What's going on?
Well, just as spring brings real baseball games, spring brings the strawberry season at Nations. And we do not believe in frozen strawberries, so we only have them during the spring, summer, and early fall months when we can get them fresh from Southern California. That time's arrived, and so strawberry tart, strawberry cheesecake becomes our best-selling pie during this time of year. Strawberry pancakes, strawberry French toast.
How about breakfast at Nations? We talk about that a lot.
For 27 of our locations, any time of day, I love getting breakfast at night. We can mix and match, sub, if you don't want the hash browns and toast, we'll throw in the French toast or the pancakes. Your choice of meat with the breakfast, again, the wild salmon goes wonderful with the eggs, but we got the bacon, sausage, linguiça, you name it. You can't really experience the Nation's dining experience if you haven't tried the breakfast at least once.
I love talking about Nations. Grant, great to have you with us. Have a good day. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Marty.
This will be the 8th pitch of the battle. Here it is. Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep right. Marte at the wall. Adios! Pelota! Upper deck in right field for Yastrzemski. 8-6 Giants, and there's the first home run allowed this year by Lopez.
Giants fans, there's no better way to set the game day table than talking baseball with Marty Laurie. Marty keeps rolling on KNBR, the sports leader.
Boy, the Giants needed that run to win it 8-7 over the Mets. Another comeback down by 4. Doug Greenwald joins us. Love having Dougie on. Doug, how are you?
Marty, good morning. I'm doing well. Yourself?
No, very good, and ready for the weekend of baseball. The YOLO High Wheelers, you're broadcasting for them now. Tell us what you're doing and what's going on in your life.
Well, a new team, and thank you for having me, and happy baseball to you. The High Wheelers and Oakland Ballers, both under the same ownership, but I work for the YOLO team. First time professional baseball's ever come to Davis. And it's the Pioneer League, which has been around since 1939, professional baseball league, which used to be an affiliated league. It used to be rookie ball, but when Major League Baseball took over the minor leagues a few years ago, they condensed all of the rookie levels and made many of them still professional leagues, but just made them now on the independent side. So I'm doing that, and we got started Tuesday night. Unfortunately, we had issues with the lights and have had to postpone a few games this week, but we'll be back at it tomorrow with a doubleheader in Davis.
Wow, I love it. Very good. Doug Greenwald with us, the YOLO High Wheelers. Doug, how does one listen to you? Because we love hearing your voice and love hearing you do play-by-play. How do we get to hear you do the YOLO games?
Well, the home games will be video streamed. It's a subscription on what's called Flow Sports, FLO. That's a service that handles a lot of the what they call MLB partner leagues. And I mentioned professional baseball. It's important to emphasize that it's these leagues have a contract with Major League Baseball. So it's a MLB partner league, but Flow Sports is associated with those leagues. You can hear the home games /see the home games that way. The out-of-town games will be on YouTube Live. So there'll be an audio stream for road games and a video stream for home games.
Oh, terrific. So we'll watch the game and hear your play-by-play on video.
On Flow Sports, yes. And
fabulous.
That's correct, yes.
Oh, fabulous. So what about the players in the league? Anyone that we know, or where do the players come from?
Well, these are players that I'm sure many of you listeners know, and you know that when, again, MLB took over the minor leagues a few years ago, the draft was cut almost in half. So now you only have about 20 rounds of the draft. Used to be about 40 rounds. So players that would have been drafted in rounds 21 through 40 still have a chance to play professionally. So these are players you'd find that would come from any college, or pretty much these guys would be college guys primarily. But same kind of players you'd have that come out of any four-year school. There were a couple of players that made it through a tryout. But for the most part, guys that would come from, we have players from the University of Oregon, or players that might come out of a junior college somewhere in Georgia. So these aren't, just local guys. These are from all over the country.
Wow, terrific. When is your next game that we can watch?
So we have a doubleheader tomorrow, starting at 1 o'clock, and then I guess approximately half an hour after that game, 2 7-inning games. So tomorrow, as I say, doubleheader back in Davis. The team plays on the campus of UC Davis, but again, a professional team. And then Monday is off, much like the rest of minor league baseball. The MLB partner leagues get Monday off. And then we're back at it Tuesday. The games next week, Tuesday through Saturday, because of our lighting issue right now, have been moved to 4:30. Tuesday, as I said, Tuesday through Saturday, and then Sunday will be at Sunday stays at 1:05.
Wow. Well, love having you on. You're a pro, and I'm glad you're doing this, and we'll absolutely follow you and during the season. So, Dougie, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Marty, you're welcome. I was going to say that the YOLO team does have a Giants flair with former Giant pitcher Jerome Williams, who's the pitching coach. Gary Davenport, need we say to whom he's related, is the bench coach. And then Billy Horton, who managed and coached in the Giants minor league chain, mostly in the Arizona Summer League. He's the manager. So you have some Giant ties all there on that staff.
I love it, Gary. Wonderful for Gary Davenport. I like that. Doug, love having you on, and wish you good luck with this. And we'll catch up with you during the season. Thank you.
Marty, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, that is Doug Greenwald. More coming up. John Shay next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, just like baseball, Georgie Brothers Furniture is full of tradition as they've served the Bay Area for over 90 years. Still a third-generation family-owned furniture showroom. Their talented staff work as a team to help their customers select the best pieces of furniture to invest in. The 50,000-square-foot showroom is full of over 150 wonderful manufacturers. One of the most popular furniture lines I love and own is Stressless chairs. Stressless makes all kind of high-quality furniture, including sectional sofas, love seats, single reclining chairs, as well as the classic Stressless chair and ottoman. Now, starting March 29th and running all the way through May 28th, there is a great sale on Stressless furniture right here at Georgie Brothers. Visit the Stressless Gallery today. You'll find something that you love. That's Georgie Brothers in South San Francisco since 1933, the best source for home furnishings, or visit them at georgiebrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Remember, tell them that Marty sent you. Fans, Bridge Bank delivers their clients full relationship banking, including treasury management solutions and global market services. Bridge Bank offers financing solutions to businesses for their working capital, equipment, and real estate needs. This is very important in today's world. Fred Voss is the Senior Managing Director of Bridge Bank's commercial lending efforts in Northern California. He has commercial banking teams in San Jose with Jesse Garcia, San Francisco, Oakland, Cheadle, Cordova, and in Pleasanton. Bridge Bank, it's like banking at home. I can't say enough about it.
No, look fantastic, but on both ends of it. I mean, it's do or die play, and you stretch that far to pick that ball and it gets by you, it's a loss. So on both ends of that thing.
Prepping you for today's orange and black ball game, we now take you back to Talking Baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for Giants and Mets game 2. John Shay, outstanding writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, joins us. John, good morning.
Good morning, Marty.
Boy, what a week of Giants baseball. First of all, let me get your reaction to the last week and everything that's gone down.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. I mean, they're a 500 team all of a sudden, and maybe you didn't think that was going to happen so quickly a week ago or 2 weeks ago when they were really scuffling. And it seems like some of the guys who they actually picked up late in the game, I guess mostly Chapman, is doing the things that we all kind of expected defensively and offensively, or at least management hoped, because their roster coming into the spring wasn't nearly as good as it was coming out of the spring. And that was because of Chapman and Soler and the other guys they picked up. And, we haven't seen anything good out of Snell, but it's a work in progress with that guy without much of a spring training and trying to relocate the plate and all the things he's got going on. But it's pretty amazing, and watching Chapman kind of reminds me of watching him in Oakland. And one of my favorite defensive strategies with the A's when Chapman was over there was when they had a guy on third with no outs or one out, so the infield is in, right? The shortstop is on the grass, the second baseman's on the grass, first baseman's on the grass. And where's Chapman? He's still deep. He's still deep when the infield is in, because he knows that if he gets any kind of grounder, he's still going to throw you out at the plate. I mean, we saw Matt Williams here with the Padres, Ken Caminiti. Remember how he had a bazooka? But overall, the way this guy uses his glove, like Williams did, and his arm, like Caminiti, he's the real deal overall. I mean, Mike Schmidt, maybe one of the greatest overall defensive third baseman, going back to Brooks and all that, but Schmidt was such a great hitter. And Chapman's career is not nearly done. We'll see how it plays out, but I think they're going to be as good as their pitching staff. And Matt Chapman, who kind of came in as a leader, you just don't take over leadership on day one. It evolves, but he was a leader in Oakland. He was a leader in Toronto, and I assume he'll be the guy if he's not already in San Francisco.
Well, I think it's been terrific all week long, every play, but the home runs, they're game-changing home runs that he hits, and I didn't think he could catch up with the high fastball. That's what all the scouts said, but he's getting the job done. It's been a lot of fun to watch it. John Shay with us. John, Bruce and I were just talking about Willie Mays, and today is the anniversary of his debut with the New York Giants. How about that? May 25th, and he went, 0 for 5 on that day. And you've written the definitive book about Willie, 24. So I thought I'd throw that one at you.
Yeah, Leo DeRocher really wanted Mays to come up. He wanted Mays in spring training, and Horace Stoneham said, no, let's give him more time in AAA at Minneapolis. So he goes to Minneapolis and just rakes. And you got to remember that for Willie Mays to leave Birmingham and go to Trenton was like a big demotion. It's like, he's playing with some of the best players in the world in the Negro Leagues, and then he's suddenly the only minority in the entire league when he joins the Trenton Giants right after high school graduation. So he's playing with guys older than him, but not nearly as good as him. And much of the same was true in Minneapolis, but they had some more accomplished players in AAA. But he's hitting 477 in late May, and he loved it because, unlike in Trenton, there was more diversity on those rosters. The Trenton, he was really the only minority in the entire league, and he heard some things that Jackie was hearing 3 years earlier when he broke in with the Dodgers in 47. So he's perfectly content to stay in Minneapolis, but the New York Giants are scuffling in late May, and Leo talks Horace into finally bringing up the kid. And when Leo calls him, Willie says, "You know what? I'm fine here. Can I just stay here? I don't need to go up there right now." So he said, "No, man, we need you." So he calls him up, and he scuffles at the outset, and then, by the end of the year, he's Rookie of the Year, and he's in the World Series. So things kind of develop quickly, and he was a big reason. The pitchers loved him, in 51, and the great finish they had, because he tracked down everything. And that's pretty much was the story in Birmingham. He wasn't the great hitter we all realized he had become later, but in Birmingham and in that first year with the New York Giants, mostly defense is what the pitchers and the manager loved about him. He could track down anything and throw you out from anywhere.
Boy, John Shay with us. John, it's a good segue into the game that's going to come up June 20th in Birmingham, which honors Willie and the Negro Leagues. The Giants and the Cardinals are going to play at Rickwood Field, the oldest stadium still in existence. And, of course, I'll be there. You'll be there. And you've been writing about it in the Chronicle every week, doing a great job. And 2 weeks ago, you had a very interesting story about the stats from the Negro Leagues that are now going to be incorporated into Baseball Reference. And I want to get your thoughts on that. It was a well-done article.
Well, thanks, Marty. It's a fascinating story, and how it's being played out all these years later. Major League Baseball is basically righting and wrong. I mean, first of all, with segregation, and second of all, not to even acknowledge that the Negro Leagues existed as far back as 1969, when the Special Committee on Baseball Records met to identify which major leagues we ought to count going back to the 1870s. Which ones of these should be considered major leagues, so we can incorporate those stats. The Negro Leagues at the time weren't even considered. Nobody even brought them up, which is pretty shameful. But in 2020, the 100th anniversary of the inception of the Negro Leagues from 1920, Major League Baseball late in the year announced that we will include those statistics. So I found out that, obviously they haven't been done yet, because to make Negro League stats official, they need to be included with the Elias Sports Bureau, the official statistician. You might see him on Baseball Reference. You might see him on Seamheads, which is the definitive Negro League site. But they were never official. So I understand between now and the start of Rickwood, they will be official. There will be an announcement. So Josh Gibson and Papa Bell and Oscar Charleston and everybody else, there's thousands of guys you never heard of, those numbers will be incorporated. Now, you won't see them in the counting stats. The top 10 all-time home run leaders will remain intact. But with the rate stats, with the slugging percentage, the on-base percentage, the batting average, you will see Josh Gibson in slugging percentage, all-time top 10. You will see those numbers. But the tricky thing is, and these researchers from Larry Lester to Gary Ashwell and all these wonderful historians and people who dedicate much of their lives to going back and trying to solidify all the numbers from 1920 to 1948, which is no easy task, have come across 75% of the box scores. And they will not count a statistic unless there is a box score. Josh Gibson hit 4 home runs one game. There is no box score, so that does not count. Willie Mays hit a home run in 1948 as a 17-year-old sophomore in high school with the Birmingham Black Barons. That will not count. So he's stuck at 660, not 661. Now, he hit a bunch more home runs when he was older and bigger in 49 and 50, but those don't count because Major League Baseball is only counting from 1920 to 1948. Why 1948? Well, that was the final year of the Negro League's World Series, and the Negro National League just folded after 48. So interest waned in the league. Jackie and Dobie and all these guys were making a splash in white baseball. So a lot of the attention refocused to other ways. So they're not counting Willie's 49 and 50 stats. So you're going to look at his career year by year. You're going to see Major League 1948, and then the next Major League 1951. It's like 49 and 50 didn't even exist. It's kind of odd, but they had to they had to draw the line somewhere. So that home run that Willie hit on, August 11th, 1948 against the Cleveland Buckeyes in Tuscaloosa, the one home run he hit officially will not count. He did hit a second home run, by the way, Marty. But back then, when Birmingham played the New York Cubans, two major league teams, two of the best, historic teams ever, they played a game, but they were in different leagues, one in the American League, one in the National League. So it never counted in the standings. It never counted in the official postseason stats. So when these researchers go back, they actually are counting those games because they can't just say, well, only because they didn't count it then. It was two major league teams going at it. I hope I'm not confusing everybody. But the fact is, Mays hit a home run in that game as well. But again, there was no box score. So if they locate the box scores and they're still looking, you might see Mays 661 or 662. But I think what they have now is pretty much what you're going to get, 75% of the box scores.
Well, it's great because the box scores are important. But the thing is, it puts a perspective. We know that Oscar Charleston was a great player. He was the first Willie Mays. But now to see his batting average over the years of 420, 415, 396, it gives us a number to associate with Oscar Charleston. It's not anecdotal anymore. There's a number that we can compare to, and that's what baseball is all about. But you did a great story on it, John. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Philip Lee on, who wrote the book Black Stats Matter, that gives the arguments pro and con for including these and why they're being included now. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. But you did a good job with this. One last thought for you. Lamont Wade is the focus of the article today. He had a lot of opinions about what's going on in baseball.
Yeah, he did. And Lamont Wade Jr. is a great story. I mean, he's been leading the majors in on-base percentage. He's having a career year. Nearly half the time he gets on base. Pretty remarkable. But he came from the Baltimore area where his buddies just were not interested in playing baseball. It was all about basketball. And like he said, baseball was just not affordable for too many kids. And basketball, you need, a T-shirt, some high tops, and a ball. Let's go. But, baseball is a little bit more complex with the gloves, a couple $100, the cleats, the bat. They're just not cheap. And to form a team, you just can't go out and play 3-on-3. Well, you could, but it's just not done. And, he spoke about, the lack of representation among African Americans in the game, not just on the field, but pretty much everywhere, from ownership to management, the coaching staffs and managers. I mean, it's the same old story, right? I mean, you look at the numbers, and as recently as 1995, we saw 19% of the players as African Americans, and now it's down to 6%. It goes down every year. It was 6.2 last year, 7.2 the year before, and it's not something that MLB is just ignoring, because they've got many initiatives, many programs. I spoke with Tony Regans, the former Angels general manager, who's kind of overseeing a lot of this, from the Dream Series to the Breakthrough Series to the Hank Aaron Invitational. And Regans told me about this initiative called the Program and the ID Tour, where they actually work a lot with the elite African-American kids from high school mostly, but also, college. And representation in college is even worse, or lower anyway, than Major League Baseball. So it's all about, pushing kids, getting them interested, and having the resources to make it all happen. And if you look at the drafts, recent drafts, unlike, say, 5 or 10 years ago, is maybe more encouraging on this subject, because in 2022, there are 13 African-American kids among the top 100 kids picked. In this most recent year, last summer, there were 10 African-American kids out of the first 50 picked. So some progress is being made, and that's encouraging, because baseball, shouldn't be, just for certain people. It should be for all people. I mean, that was what you and I kind of grew up with, everybody. And while we have more Latino players and more Asian players, in terms of American kids who grew up, in the 50 states, it should just be available to everybody. And I think that's the focus heading into the Rickwood game, and they're trying to make Rickwood not just a showcase to promote, to make money and all this stuff, but actually to make it appealing to African American kids, who might turn the game on and see, the Major League Baseball is like 26% of all tickets are free to kids in the Birmingham area, whether it's boys and girls clubs or high school and college kids, and they're making all the tickets purchased for people from the Alabama zip codes, kind of like what they did with Field of Dreams. They're trying to make it regional instead of having the high rollers, win lotteries and come back or overpay for tickets on the secondary market. So I think they're trying to make this authentic with Rickwood Field. You said it's the oldest, but it's also the only ballpark that's still around that Mays played in professionally, because Seal Stadium and Candlestick and the Polo Grounds and Shea Stadium, they're all gone. And it's pretty amazing. This old park from 1910, older than Wrigley, older than Fenway, still stands, and they're prettying it up. And I hope they don't go overboard. I hope you can walk in and it's still going to be authentic as if it was 1948 all over again. But they will have a jumbotron. They will cover the outfield with green padding walls, which at first I said, come on, man, just leave it as is. But then I see all these Giants outfielders run into the green padded walls and still get hurt. So I think the health and safety with the union and the league got together and said, even though it's one game, let's still make it modern.
It's going to be fabulous. I'm so glad that I'll be there and you'll be there and be able to be part of this. It's such a worthy cause, and just to see these numbers and these names and these players, and maybe it's not 6,000 at bats or 3,000 hits, but it gives you a perspective of how good these players were. They played to win. This was serious baseball, so they're finally getting acknowledged. John, a pleasure having you on. Love having you on. We'll do this again before the game. Thank you.
Okay, Marty, thank you.
All right, that is John Shay. Walter, thanks for being patient there. Walter's coming up with our Giants warm-up, and back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Again, have a great Saturday, everybody. Talk to you then.
Seam heads, start cracking those peanuts and spitting those seeds, because gloves are soon to be popping.
He makes a headlong dive and he makes the catch.
And bats are going to get cracking.
Blast one, deep right field, gone!
Welcome to KNBR's Giants Warm-Up.
Way back there, goodbye!
On the sports leader.
What's up, Giants fans, and good morning. Got to tone down the excitement. It's an early morning for San Francisco Giants fans and for the Giants taking on the Mets in Queens. Game 2 about to get underway in just about an hour and a half. So I'm going to take you all the way up to 9:40, where the official Giants pregame show begins. And then we get to the game. So really excited for this Giants team right now. 808 KNBR is the number. Go ahead and chime in. Let me know how you are feeling about this team. I've been talking with the YouTube chat. We are live on YouTube. Go over there, YouTube and Twitter. Been talking with Greg Dayton, Victor Stevenson, who is that? Haruku. Haruku's on there in the YouTube chat as well. We've been having a great conversation on the San Francisco Giants team because what the hell is going on? Welcome to the Giants warm-up show again on KNBR, the sports leader. It's a great day. The Giants have been making it very interesting in the last week on this road trip. It has not been games to watch of the fan of heart. I mean, these games have been intense, and I believe it was Victor that chimed in on the YouTube chat, and he was telling me that he, a grand slam happens or a rally happens for the other team, and he gets frustrated and gets out of the room. That is exactly how I felt as well. But I'm dialed into these games. But yeah, I mean, when it happens, especially early on in the series, and after the road series started for the San Francisco Giants in Pittsburgh on Tuesday, you just figured, oh man, this is going to be a long week. They got Pittsburgh. They have Paul Skeens. They had Jared Jones coming up. It's just like, oh man, this is gonna be horrible for especially how the weekends or the week started. So then you fast forward, and these guys have turned into the comeback kids. It is incredible for the San Francisco Giants, where this team has been anemic on offense. A couple of weekends ago, out on the patio, we were taking some calls, and I forget who it was, but it was a great call from I think it was from Gilroy or something like that. But I was pretty much asking, what is one word? It was after the dog-esque comment from Logan Webb. What one word would describe the San Francisco Giants to that point in the season? And someone called in, and it was a bummer. And that was the most perfect word to use at that time. But now, I mean, it's exciting. This team is a team that you can get behind, a team that you can watch day in and day out. And you're starting to see it with the infusion of Luis Matos. You're starting to see it with the infusion of Elliot Ramos with these young guys. And now you're seeing Patrick Bailey, who comes up huge last night in that game with that grand slam in the 8th inning. This team has just done a complete 180 from how they were a couple of weeks ago, and that's because the offense is clicking. But on the backside of it, or on the other side of that, the starting pitching hasn't been as sharp. But now you're starting to see the glimpses of what this offense can potentially be. And you know, baseball, it goes through ebbs and flows. There's highs and lows throughout the baseball season. But just to see that this offense is starting to click, and to see that it is a combination of the young players contributing, and now the vets are starting to get involved as well. So the Giants, they finally reached that 500 mark. Haruku on the chat, he's not satisfied until they get above 500. That could be as early as today. Giants are going for the series win, their third consecutive series win if they were to win today. You got Jordan Hicks on the mound against Luis Severino. Should be a good one there. But yeah, man, I mean, again, it's just a tale of two halves, I guess. It's not even really a half. It's just a tale of 2 months. Just the difference of what the Giants were through the first 40 games, where they didn't go, they couldn't win 3 games in a row. It was so frustrating that they couldn't win 3 in a row. They kept going 2, and then they'd lose, and it was just frustrating. Now they've won, have 3 winning streaks in the past 10 days. So this Giants team has really turned it around. Winners of the 7 of their last 8, 11 of their last 16. This is a very different Giants team that we have come accustomed to seeing in this season. So how are you feeling on the San Francisco Giants? Go ahead and chime in on the text line, on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line, or give us a call at 415-808-5627. That's 415-808-KNBR. Again, also chime in on the YouTube chat. I'm going to be monitoring everything. But yeah, how are we feeling about this team? Has this Giants team turned a corner for you, especially with how the offense is going? Do you believe in this team now? Is this a team that can potentially be a playoff team down the road? We started talking earlier this year, and when you have a pitching staff like they do with Blake Snell, who came back, and I was encouraged by his outing. I know that the stat line would suggest otherwise, but I was encouraged at just looking at his fastball control. It's a sign of things to come, and the buildup for Blake Snell. I think we're going to see more great starts out of Blake Snell moving forward. But then you look at Logan Webb. Logan Webb has been the ace of this staff, the leader of this staff. You have Kyle Harrison, who pitched decent enough to keep the Giants in the game yesterday. And then you got Jordan Hicks, who is pitching today, who happens to be one of the best pitchers for the Giants so far in 2024. So when you look at that starting rotation, and you start to see and you start to hear Alex Cobb is starting his throwing program again. You start to hear that Robbie Ray today is throwing a live BP. You start to hear that these guys for the pitching staff are starting to come back. Then it starts to get to a point where, okay, they're at full health. Because remember, this team was a team 2 weeks ago at the beginning of May, they were devastated by injuries. I was not liking how it was trending with all the injuries that were happening for the San Francisco Giants. You have Jung-Hoo Lee go down. You had Patrick Bailey go down with the concussion. And since he's come back from the IL or the concussion protocol, he's 5 for 9 in games that he's started. And with that grand slam yesterday, has 5 RBIs since he's returned on this road trip. So that's someone that was hitting well for the Giants in the early part of the season. Then he got banged up a little bit. And now he's back, and that could be a contributing factor for the San Francisco Giants today. Patrick Bailey is in the lineup again. He's at the DH spot today. You got Kirk Casale in the squat. We'll go through the lineup here in a little bit. But when you look at this San Francisco Giants team, I mean, they're at 500, and it's felt like a uphill battle to climb in the early part of this season. Now they're there, and I think that the team is starting to go into a groove. They're starting to feel it right now. They're starting to just put together solid at bats, and Matt Chapman has just been phenomenal. We'll talk more about Matt Chapman in a little bit and on the other side, but Matt Chapman has been a real leader for this team. But yesterday it was all about Patrick Bailey. Patrick Bailey really put the team on his shoulders. And again, it is the third straight time. It's never happened. Go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that this has ever happened for the San Francisco Giants in recent memory, as long as I've been watching for the San Francisco Giants. But coming back 4+ runs down 3 consecutive days and winning every single one of those games, it is just incredible for the San Francisco Giants. So they're riding a high right now, and Patrick Bailey going through this stretch of the season where they're playing their best baseball. He talked yesterday after, obviously, he had the grand slam, but he talked yesterday about how he's feeling getting back to the team and if this is a special team going into the summer months.
Yeah, we're a good ball club. We're never out of it. Starting to swing a little bit better. Got to play better defense for sure. And, our arms, our bullpen's been unbelievable this past week and this month as a whole. And they've really stepped up and helped us a ton. I think once we get all systems rolling, I think it's going to be a special team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you look at this Giants team with the health, with Michael Conforto, it was they were trying, at least Michael Conforto was trying to get right for this series. Obviously, this is a huge series for Michael Conforto to go back to his former team and perform in front of those fans, but he was not able to ramp up the sprinting, so he might not be able to go in this series. We'll have to watch that, but it's more likely that he'll come back for the homestand. But Michael Conforto, that's a left-handed bat that at the beginning of the year, I mean, he started off hot. He was the hottest bat in the Giants lineup where everyone else was just stone cold. So when he comes back, it's going to be a really interesting situation to where we start to see what the roster moves are and what the playing time is. Because when you have Conforto, when you have Yaz also hit a home run yesterday to extend the lead, which looked like a huge run when you look at how the game ended up. It was a huge homer in the ninth inning for Mike Yastrzemski. And, he's in there primarily for his glove. But when you look at Michael Conforto coming back and they have Ryan McKenna, he'll probably be the roster move. But then when you have Austin Slater, who went out with concussion protocol, when he comes back, when he slates to come back, no pun intended, what is the roster construction going to look like then? Because I feel like this team really went full 180 when these young guys started playing. When Elliot Ramos got called up to the team, he just infused a lot of energy in the field and with his glove, and then he started hitting, and he's been consistent with the bat. So he's looked pretty good as well. And then you look at Luis Matos. Again, everyone remembers how he ended the homestand last week, where he robbed the home run from Teoscar Hernandez, and then it just continued to roll. And he had 11 RBIs in 2 games against the Rockies. So this Giants team, the young guys are part of the winning solution. So when guys start to get healthy, especially in that outfield, it just seems like there's a lot of bodies there. And I would hate to see anyone on this current roster be moved off of the team because Elliot Ramos is doing a fantastic job right now in the field and in the batter's box, and Luis Matos is playing a much better than anticipated center field, because the way that it started after Jung-Hoo Lee, and I think we were spoiled with Jung-Hoo Lee because of his range and because of his speed in center field. There was a lot of pressure from Luis Matos, and he did not start off good filling in for Jung-Hoo Lee in the early goings of that Dodgers series, where he just had bad first steps and he did not read the bat off the ball correctly. So it's nice to see that he has the confidence. That's a huge thing when you look at the confidence level in each one of these guys. And I know a lot of people are talking about Marco Luciano, and he's someone that I really enjoy to watch. I don't enjoy watching his defense. I don't enjoy watching his defense, but I do enjoy watching what he can do with the bat, and he's hitting really good right now. So the fact that he's continuing to put together solid ABs with the error problem late in games still being an issue, and he's not in the lineup today, and I don't know if that's just a way for Bob Melvin to get his mind right, but he is not in the lineup today. Errors have been an issue for Marco Luciano, but the bat is still there, and that's critical, because when you look at how these guys progress, how they develop into their major league status, you don't want to take away confidence, especially with someone so young as Marco Luciano at 22 years old. But can you afford that at this point in the season? The Giants are starting to win. Are they a playoff team with or without these young guys? So we'll have to look at that moving forward. But speaking of Bo Mel, I mean, this team has shown that they have fight, and that's something that this team has not had in the recent weeks. You again, Victor was talking about it in the YouTube chat. He was pretty much just saying, you know, once they go down, it is tough. It is hard, and you just imagine, or you pretty much picture that the Giants are going to lose when they go down. But the script has flipped in the last couple of days, and Bo Mel pretty much talking after the game. And of course, when you're winning, it starts to feel good, but the dugout, they're just all pulling for each other. And the fact that it has been Luis Matos, then Matt Chapman, then Patrick Bailey, it's been someone different every single time to step up. And that's where you're starting to see this Giants team, this Giants offense really gel. So Bo Mel was talking about the Giants and how important it is to have someone step up.
Yeah, look, it's the same thing last 3 days. I mean, we're just fighting to the finish. And when we get guys on base, there's just a really good feeling in the dugout that someone's going to come up with a big hit. And, you know, we had a couple there that inning, and then obviously Bailey's was huge.
Yeah, so that's kind of what you're seeing with the Giants, is that you have several guys stepping up individually, but collectively as a team. And, you know, maybe there isn't a jolt of excitement with the Giants if Jorge Soler doesn't hit that home run to tie it back up early in the game. I know it was only in the second inning, but, you know, it's just the energy is being pushed through this San Francisco Giants team right now. And it's with the young guys. It started with the young guys, but has now trickled to the veterans. One more cut with Bo Mel, and then we'll take a quick break and we'll talk about potential player of the week status. Again, I don't know if that's ever happened for the San Francisco Giants. Go ahead and chime in on the YouTube chat or on the KNBR text line on 415-808-5627. That's 415-808-KNBR. Go ahead and chime in. Have the Giants ever had a consecutive weeks of a position players winning player of the week? Has that ever happened? I was trying to look for it. I did not see it. I know that the last time that they had consecutive players of the week, it was Jason Schmidt and Barry Bonds in 2002. But position players, have the Giants ever had that ever happen? Because that is on the table, as we'll talk about Matt Chapman coming up. But Bo Mel, pretty much just everyone's excited about getting back to 500, and no one is more excited than the skipper. And here was his thoughts after the game last night.
You guys are back at 500 for the first time since 2-2. Is that a big deal for you?
Yeah, it's a big deal. You know, we came on this road trip. We were hoping to do something like that, come home 500 or a little bit better. You know, we lose a really tough game to start in Pittsburgh, which puts us back at 3 again, which didn't feel too terribly good. But, you know, to win 3 in a row like that in the fashion that we did, really good.
Yeah, and we definitely had some conversations earlier this week on Papa and Lund where we presented the question, can they get back to 500 on this road trip? And this was immediately after the debacle. Or actually, we asked the question prior to Tuesday night's game, and then we asked it again, and it just did not feel good. So the fact that they were able to not ride that negative momentum and flip it around and come together, this is a come together moment for the San Francisco Giants. So we'll continue that talk on the other side. We'll talk about Matt Chapman. We'll talk about the Giants moving forward. How are you feeling? 808 KNBR. That's 415-808-5627. I see Scarecrow on the line. We will get to you on the other side, Scarecrow, I promise. So just hang tight, and we'll continue to talk about the Giants all the way up to 9:40, where the Giants official pregame show begins. So you're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
The runners go. The pitch. Little bouncer hits slowly to third. Chapman barehands it. One hop throw to first, and Wade makes the grab. What a play on both ends. Wow. The Giants have won it on a miraculous play. Vientos hit a soft ground ball to third. The Mets will immediately challenge and ask for the replay review on that one. But the barehanded pickup by Chapman, who was sprinting in for that ball, and then made a one-hop throw to first, and Wade was able to grab that one-hop throw and hold on to it.
It's confirmed. The runner is out. The game is over.
And there you have it.
Giants fans, first pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the sports leader.
Oh, man, that reminds me of the 49ers-Cowboys game. The game is over. Raph, you got to clip that end of that call. We got to save that in the system and repurpose that every single time that we can. But welcome back to the Giants warm-up show on KNBR, the sports leader. And yeah, we're going to continue to talk about the San Francisco Giants. You heard it there. We had the final call of the game where that was a do or die play. And that's where we're going to start here with the San Francisco Giants and with the player of the week. I have to look up my read real quick. Sorry for that, Raph. Player of the week, key player of the week, sponsored by Key Point Credit Union, Next Generation Neighborhood Banking. It has to be Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman has been on a tear all week long. He had a 6-game hit streak into yesterday, which no longer exists. But prior to that, he was hitting 3 home runs, hitting well above 500. And right now, on this series, he hit 5 for 13 in Pittsburgh, and that is a 385 average with 4 runs, a double, and 3 home runs. So this guy has been on a tear. But you heard it there with we all know what to expect from Matt Chapman with the glove, but just seeing it in person, or not in person, but I mean, I've seen it in person, but seeing it day in and day out for the San Francisco Giants has been immensely impressive. I mean, this is a huge signing for the San Francisco Giants. And just when you look at this week alone, how many of these games did the Giants win without Matt Chapman? I'm just saying. So Matt Chapman is the key player of the week. Let's get you the lineup really quick because we are going to be heading out here to the Giants official pregame show in about 5 minutes. So let's get you that lineup. I did mention that Lamont Wade Jr. is not in the lineup today. Neither is Marco Luciano. Susan Slusser did speak with Lamont Wade Jr., said that he's okay. So that's good. I didn't even know that he was feeling anything. Maybe it's just a day off. He's been playing a lot of games because it is a little bit curious that he's not in the lineup. He's not in the lineup against the righty Luis Severino. So let's go ahead and look at this lineup. Luis Matos is leading off again. I did scratch my head a little bit the first time that I saw this in the lineup a couple of days ago with Luis Matos leading off, but then you start to look at it and he does not strike out a lot. He's only struck out 2 times in 50 plate appearances, or 50 at bats. So Luis Matos is in the leadoff spot in center field. You have Thairo Estrada at second base in the 2-hole. You have Patrick Bailey at DH today. Patrick Bailey at DH. Batting third, you have Matt Chapman at the hot corner at third base. In the cleanup spot, you have Wilmer Flores at first base. In the 5-hole, you have Mike Yastrzemski right field batting 6th. Elliot Ramos in left field batting 7th. Kirk Casale batting 8th at catcher, and you have Brett Wisely who is in there at shortstop today for the San Francisco Giants, batting 9th. So again, Matos, Estrada, Bailey, Chapman, Flores, Yastrzemski, Ramos, Casale, Wisely, no Soler, no Wade, no Luciano of your regulars that you see for the San Francisco Giants. So we have been having a fun morning. It's a quick show. Raph. We've been having a fun morning so far in the YouTube chat. Everyone's hyped about the Giants, but they do want to see more about the San Francisco Giants team, especially because they are winning games that they are supposed to be winning. They are winning games that they are supposed to be winning. They are playing teams that are below 500. They themselves were below 500, but they are playing teams that they should be beating with Pittsburgh, with the New York Mets, and they are exposing the bad bullpens of these teams, of the Rockies as well. So, you know, how do you look at this winning streak of the San Francisco Giants, of this great ball over the last 2 weeks? 11 of their last 16 games they have won. I mean, how do you kind of look at how this stacks up against good teams? Well, that question is going to be answered when the Giants come back home. They'll be playing against the Philadelphia Phillies. We remember that Philly series earlier this year where it did not go good for the San Francisco Giants. Didn't win a game in Philadelphia in that 4-game series. And then you have the New York Yankees right after that with the off day in between. So it's going to be a really interesting adjustment to see how the Giants look as they play against good teams. I think that's what everyone wants to see, at least everyone in the YouTube chat, and I do respect that. That is something that the Giants need to do. They're playing good baseball right now, but they have to continue to do that against good teams. So let's go to really quick before we get out of here. Let's go ahead and give you the standings update. This is exciting, the standings update, because the Giants are winning games now. They're back at 500. Standings update sponsored by the Alameda County Probation Department. Visit joinacpd.org today for a career that matters. And when you look at the NL West, we know that the Dodgers are still at the top of the division, but the Giants are now tied for second in the NL West with the San Diego Padres. Both teams are at 500. Padres are at 27-27. Giants are 26-26, both 6.5 games back of the Dodgers, but the Giants are 7 of 3 out of their last 10. Again, I've mentioned the 11 of 16. So they are looking pretty good in the West. But then when you switch on over to the wild card, it's more of the same. You have the Braves at the top of the wild card. You have the Cubs, and then they are tied for that final wild card spot against the Padres with the Giants and the Diamondbacks right behind them. So getting ready for the Giants warm-up or Giants pregame show coming up. Giants and Mets. You have Jordan Hicks on the mound against Luis Severino. We'll talk more with John Miller on the other side. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.